Think about that. Money is currency. It should be in flow. It should be in flow. And so I'm going to tell you where I really started to learn about finances and what I used to do, and then how I've progressed in my thinking. But finances are a resource. Money is a resource, just like time and talent are resources. Money is a resource that allows you to do things. It allows you to create things. It allows you to build things and experience things. And money is just a tool. It can be used. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the Cory Lee Show. I feel like it has been forever since I've done a solo cast, and I thought, hey, you know what? Let's jump back in here and just kind of give some thoughts on what's been going on and some of the content that I have been teaching, and just share with you some things that are on my heart and on my mind. Actually, today we're going to be talking about the factors of success, and I really got this where I had this young team. I say it's a young team. It's a local business, and they've got a group of young men and some young women on their team, and just really early 20s. And I thought about they invite me in. We do twice a month where I come in and do some leadership training with them, do some motivation stuff, and all that fun stuff. And so this past week we were talking about. I was thinking about them as like, these are guys and girls who are kind of just getting into their careers. They're not fully settled into, this is the job that I'm doing forever. It's kind of more of a working into where they're going, getting an idea of what they want to do in life and those kind of things. And it's like, what are some things I could share with them that would set them up no matter where they go, no matter where they end up, whether they stay in this current role or they go on to do their own thing or whatever. What are some keys that I've noticed in my own life, but also as I've read other great men and women? What are some of those keys to success? And that's what I want to share with you today. And it's a little bit about what I shared with them. And so I was thinking about this. Me and our family, our kids, we like to play sometimes Would You Rather, right? And so things like, would you rather be the strongest or the fastest? Would you rather be the best player on the worst team or the worst player on the best team? And right? And it's just kind of a fun little conversation to open up, I guess, a conversation. But it's really interesting where it goes. And when you think about that, would you rather be the best player on the worst team, or would you rather be the worst player on the best team? And it really speaks into a little bit of how you see the world around you, how you see yourself, and some of your goals and some of your heart. And so today I wanted to share some factors of success. So number one, and these are basic, right? So some of these are just super basic. I think the old guy from General Electric, I forget his name, but he used to talk about, he had thousands of employees, and they were like, hey, how do I grow? How do I grow? And he talked about getting out of the pile. How do you get out of the pile of mediocrity? How do you get out of the pile of just blending in and fitting in with everybody else around you? And so today, these are talking about, how do you get out of the pile? How do you get out of the pile? Some of them are super basic, just like this first one. Number one is don't be late. Don't be late. If you are scheduled at a time, be like 15 minutes early, 10 to 15 minutes early. Do not be late. I think whenever you are constantly late and when you show up and you're the last one there, I think it says something to everyone else there that you are making a statement that you're more important than everybody else. I really believe that. I think that's what it's saying. I think it is a horrible habit. I think it is disrespectful to the people who show up on time, who are there, who are ready to rock and roll. And I heard a mentor say, I never really thought about this until I had a mentor say to me one time. He was telling me his experience, how he was going into this job interview. And this was somebody that he kind of knew. His dad and this business owner, they were friends. And so he was supposed to be there at like 10 o'clock, and he arrives at like 10:03. And whenever he arrives, he goes to push the door to open the door to the office, and the door's locked. And he knocks on the door and nobody comes. And finally, he calls the business owner that he's supposed to be meeting with. He said, hey, I'm at the door and it's locked. I can't get in. Would you let me in? The guy said, hey, you're 3 minutes late. You're going to have to schedule another time. And wouldn't have the interview with him at that time because he was 3 minutes late. And he said it taught him a lesson about valuing not just your time, but other people's time. Time is our most valuable asset, right? Like it's something you'll never get back. And anytime we do anything, we are literally trading our life for that activity in that moment. It is something you'll never get back. And so oftentimes I'll tell people when we do our leadership trainings that you are literally trading your life to be here right now. My goal is make that a worthy trade of your time. You right now listening to this podcast, whether you're watching it on YouTube or you're listening to it through Spotify or wherever else you listen, you are literally trading your life to hear this content. My goal is to make it a worthy trade of your time. So never be late. Like show up, be prepared. And so number 2 is do what you do with joy and excellence, right? Like skills can be taught. I work with leaders all over the country and they talk about the skills. They can teach the skills. But boy, if they can find someone who's got some talent, who's coachable, and who's got those soft skills of being dependable, being honest, got integrity, a go-getter, a builder, and all those kind of things, man, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for people who have a heart posture of want to do things with excellence, who value themselves and value other people. And so when I say do things with joy and do things with excellence, joy is a posture of the heart. It's not based on circumstances and conditions. It's not me faking a smile until I make it. It's not being frustrated when things don't go my way. It is a posture of my heart. And no matter what the circumstances and conditions are, I am filled with joy. And I hope this is coming across pretty good. There are bad times. There are things that happen. There are bad circumstances, and there are times for sadness and stuff. But it still doesn't take away the joy that I am filled with joy that I'm still alive. I am filled with joy that I get to be a part of this generation. That I get to be a part of advancing the kingdom of God in this generation. Man, I am joyful. There's a posture of joy in my heart. I met a lady, I was flying this past week. I flew out to Sacramento and back, and this lady, she was behind me getting on the flight from Sacramento to Dallas, and then from Dallas to Memphis. She was right behind me again, and so we connected, and so she lives in Sacramento, but originally from North Mississippi, which is where I'm from, and just as I was speaking to her, you could just feel the joy that this woman had as she talked about her life and the things that she used to do and the things with her husband and things with her kids and now her grandkids. You could just feel the joy in her heart as she spoke. And so joy is a posture of the heart. Doing things with excellence. We want to do the things that we do with excellence. When we begin to do the insignificant as if it were significant, we've proven that we're ready and prepared for the significant. And so don't despise the day of small beginnings, right? And so do what you do with joy, do it with excellence. You can choose your attitude. Your attitude is your choice. This is something you guys, if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, it's something you heard me talk about a good bit. If you've been in some of our trainings, you've heard me talk about this. Your attitude, my attitude is my choice. I can't control the things people say to me. I can't control the things people do to me. But one thing I can control is my response, is my reaction. And in the book, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, he talks about this. Viktor Frankl, he was a Jewish psychiatrist, and he spent some time in Auschwitz, and he makes this pretty powerful statement. He talks about when they came and got him and they loaded him on the train, they took him away from his family, they took him away from his home, and then they got him off the train at Auschwitz. And as soon as they got there, they took away his possessions, took away his watch, his wallet. And then right there in front of everybody, they stripped the man naked, took away his dignity and his pride. And then they gave him some new clothes. And on these new clothes, there was this number written right across the chest. And that number was now his identity, is now his identification mark. That's what they had to call him, number 57321, whatever it was, right? No longer could he be called Victor. But he makes this powerful statement. He said, every freedom can be taken away from a man, except for one. They can take away his possessions. They can take away his family. They can take away his dignity and his pride. But there's only one freedom that they cannot take away. It has to be given. And it's the ability to choose one's own attitude, one's own response. He said between stimulus and response lies this space. And in this space lies our power and our freedom. Think about that. Between stimulus, maybe somebody punches me in the mouth, right? And then my response, sometimes it's in the blink of the eye, but there is this space. There's this window of time. And in that window of time, he said, that's where my power lies. That's where my power to choose how I'm going to respond to this stimulus. And that's a powerful thing. Your attitude is your choice. Some of you heard me tell the story about our son. He comes to me. He's just mad, right? Boy, he was mad. Ooh, he was so mad. And he had a little tear coming down his mouth, a little, bottom lip was poking out a little bit. And he was just so mad. And I said, Colton, man, what's wrong, man? He said, oh, just Brady made me so mad. Brady made me so mad. And Brady's at this time his 3-year-old brother. And I got to talk to him a little bit more. And apparently Brady had said something that made him mad. And I told Colton, I said, Colton, if somebody else can make you mad, if somebody else can make you sad, and if somebody else can make you glad, then you've been had. If somebody else can make you sad, mad, or glad, you've been had, because what you've done is you've given somebody else complete power over your emotions, over your right to choose your own attitude, and you're far too valuable to be given that kind of power away. So your attitude is your choice. Here's one other thing I thought about sharing with the young guys is leaders are typically very good decision makers, and a lot of times people come to them with all these problems. Talk about problems. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Well, I really wanted to shift their mindset, and I really want to shift our mindset. Instead of looking at all the problems, yes, what if God is allowing you to see the problem so you can, because he wants to offer a solution through you? And so one of the things I wanted to challenge these young leaders to do is anytime you see a problem, you go to your leader with this, what's called the 1-3-1 solution, all right? 1-3-1. What's the one problem? Based on that one problem, come up with 3 solutions. And then of those 3 solutions, what is your one favorite, right? And so you're providing this to your leader. You're saying, hey, here's the problem. Based on that problem, I thought of 3 solutions. And of these 3 solutions, I think this is the best. But, you can make your own choice as the leader. And so never bring a problem without bringing a solution. Number 3, I talked about getting into rooms that you're not the best. Get into some rooms where you're not the smartest, the strongest, the biggest, the fastest, right? Like maybe you've heard the vignette. If you're the head of the class, then you need to find a new class. If you're the smartest one in the room, you need to find a new room. And the reason that is because you lose that benefit of being stretched. You lose that benefit of having somebody a little further down the path than you who's going to challenge your current paradigms, who's going to challenge you to step forward, who's going to pull you forward, right? And so get into rooms where you're not the biggest, the baddest, and the strongest. The next one, number 4, is get into rooms where you are the best. Now, when you hear that if you're the head of the class, you need to find a new class, it doesn't mean you have to leave the other class. And what I'm trying to say here is you need to find people who will mentor you, who are further down the path than you, who can stretch you and grow you, but you need to be pouring out. You need to be a river and not just a reservoir. You need to be pouring into and mentoring other people. And so when I say get into rooms where you are the best, pull other people along. Find people that you can pour into and mentor and impact a life. And so get into rooms where you're not the best, but also get into rooms where you are the best. Number 5, I talk about take full responsibility on everything that's in your circle of influence. Something I heard Jim Rohn say that really impacted me, and maybe we've all kind of said this, is like, you take care of me and I'll take care of you. And he said, I thought about that for a while, and he said, I've changed my thought on that. No longer do I say, you take care of me and I'll take care of you. But he says, I've changed it to, I'll take care of me for you if you'll take care of you for me. Man, that's so good. That is so good. If you think about that, I'll take care of me for you if you'll take care of you for me. That's really us taking our personal responsibility, not being dependent upon other people. We do want to be interdependent, right? But by me bringing my best, it actually helps you. Think about a team setting. In a team setting, in a work setting, If I'm slacking, somebody else has got to pick up my slack. But if I give my very best, it actually helps the people around me. And so take full responsibility, take full ownership of me bringing the most value that I can, adding more value by making myself more valuable and valuing to other people. Here's another thought as well. Think about this. Whether you own a business, whether you're a leadership role, or if you're somebody on the team, think about this. There was an opening, right? Let's say you work for somebody. There was an opening. And in that opening, there were some interviews and there were some resumes that came in. There were interviews, and out of all the people that could have been selected for that job, your name is the name that was called. Your name was the name that was selected. That means there's nobody else on this. They could have chose anybody else on the planet, but they chose you. How about that? There's nobody else better on this planet to do the job that you're in like you. If you own a business, your customers, I know there's competition out there. I know there's people who do what you do, but your customers, they chose you. Like, I think about this often whenever I get invited in to speak or do leadership training. There's several people out there that do leadership training, that do speaking engagements, all the things that I do. But that company, they chose me. And when I go in, my attitude is there's nobody else on this planet that can serve these people as well as I can. That is not arrogant, but it's me taking full responsibility, because when I think like that, I prepare properly. I bring the proper energy. I serve the people. I care about the people well, because I understand the weight and responsibility that comes in. Nobody else on this planet can do this as well as I can, right? So take full responsibility for the roles and responsibilities that you've been given in the workplace and outside the workplace. If you're a mom or a dad, taking full responsibility of that. If you're a spouse, if you're a husband or a wife, taking full responsibility of that relationship. And so take full responsibility. Number 6, never cross the finish line of growth. Man, you got to like Beyonce, put a ring on it, right? You got to commit to it. I am fully committed to my own growth and my development. I'm going to pay the price. Proverbs talks about no matter the cost, buy up some wisdom, acquire insight. Though it costs you all, go get it. Go get it. Get you some wisdom. Continue to invest in your personal and professional growth and development. Talent is just a head start. There are talented people who relied on their talent. They didn't begin to cultivate their talent, and they were soon bypassed by people who didn't start out with as much talent, but they began to cultivate and put in the work, and they bypassed the people who just settled on their talent alone. Talent is not enough. Talent is simply a head start. Growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better. And if I'm not growing today, then I am today all I will ever be. And y'all, that's more depressing than it is inspiring to me, right? So I want to grow and develop. I cannot lead you tomorrow based on today's leadership understanding. If I'm not growing, y'all, I'm not just standing still. I'm getting left behind. So I want to continue to grow, continue to develop. And I love what John Wooden talks about is make today your masterpiece. And he's talking about that, when I wake up and I get to work, then every day I'm going to do whatever I can to reach today's ceiling. But the very moment I wake up tomorrow and I put my feet on the floor, and I am now standing on yesterday's ceiling. Yesterday's ceiling is now today's floor. So I'm going to keep growing. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Cory Lee Show. Y'all, I am on a mission to build leaders and to transform culture. So if you're looking for a speaker who speaks directly to the heart, a mentor to come alongside you and your team, or if you're in a position where you're looking for a personal coach who embraces where you are and also believes in who you could become, then I would be honored to walk this path with you. Simply reach out to me on my email at Cory@CoryLeeLeadership.com. Look, let's make your vision a reality. Contact me, and together we'll navigate the path from aspiration to achievement. Your transformation, it starts now. Number 7 is be wise financially. And as I thought about this, there's twofold here. I want to give you a little bit of progression in my thought in on this. And the second part of where I'm really landing out now, it ain't going to be found in no personal growth book. It's not found in the leadership aisle. It's not found in the self-help aisle. I can promise you. But this is kind of a progression. I was never really taught about finances. I never really taught how to be wise with money or how to, that money is currency. Think about that. Money is currency. It should be in flow. It should be in flow. And so I'm going to tell you where I really started to learn about finances and what I used to do, and then how I've progressed in my thinking. But finances are a resource. Money is a resource, just like time and talent are resources. Money is a resource that allows you to do things. It allows you to create things. It allows you to build things and experience things. And money is just a tool. It can be used for evil. It can be used for good. It doesn't have emotions. Money is neither evil nor good. It's simply a tool in the hands of somebody, right? And so, again, I started out, didn't know much about finances. And one of the things that I learned is that money is currency. And early on, I came across some material that I really landed on. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, those kind of things taught this principle of that, your first 10%. They used to talk about pay yourself first. And the reason they say that is what most people do is they pay themselves last. Like they pay the government, they pay the tax man, they pay the electric man, they pay the water man, all these things, and they pay themselves last. And they flip the script on that. It's like, pay yourself first. The first 10% goes to you. And so I modified that slightly. What I landed on is the 70, 10, 10, 10, right? So the first 10 is tithe. So you can tithe to the church, do something to charity, whatever. But that first 10% is the giveaway. Second 10%, it goes into a savings account. The third 10% goes into an investing account. And so for me, I'm not necessarily talking about mutual funds and those kind of things. This is just an account that I have set aside that I stash cash to, that when opportunities come, I can take action on it. I often hear people say, man, I wish I could, but I don't have the resources to be able to do it. I never wanted to be in that spot when an opportunity came that I used that excuse of not having the resources available to take action on an opportunity that was for me. And so 10% tithe, 10% to a savings account, 10% to an investing account. And I call that more of a cash on hand type thing. I'm looking for an active investment. Brian Buffini used to talk about how in the morning when he was shaving and getting ready to go to work, he wanted his money to be shaving and going to work as well. Your money should be going to work for you. And then this last 70% is what you live on. That's what you do your expenses, your bills, you do all the payment and live on. So 70% live on, tithe 10%, 10% to savings, 10% to an investing account. Here's where I began to shift though. I was doing this like hardcore, right? Like, man, I got to, as soon as I get money in, it's like, who can I tithe? I got to tithe. And then, I got to save. And then, I got to do this. Finally, the Lord said to me once, why don't you just be a generous person? Why don't you quit worrying about that and just be generous? Like, why are you so, y'all, there's wisdom. All right. So you balance this. All right. But for me, I was so caught up on, I got to tithe, I got to do this, I got to do that. And the Lord's like, he was shifting my paradigm, but also shifting my heart posture of, why don't you just be generous? Live a generous life. And I started doing that, and wow, man, such a blessing. I don't even keep up with, how much we give away, how much we give to charity or other people and all that stuff. And man, it's just been such a blessing. And where I've shifted now is just to totally rely on the Lord for finances. And it's something that I'm growing in right now, something that I'm learning about right now. We were in a season, this is probably about a year ago. This is an amazing God story, y'all. We built this building. I'm recording in our podcast studio here at the Well in Tupelo, Mississippi. Really felt led to buy this building. We didn't have the money for it, or we didn't have the cash on hand to buy it at that time. but we bought it. We were able to buy it, and this building was costing us about $5,300 per month just to run it before we started renting out the spaces, right? So we built it to create office spaces for people to rent, and those kind of things. But we were doing some updates, and while we were getting these updates ready, it was costing us about $5,300 a month. And I don't know how loaded you are, but $5,300 per month, man, that'll drain a bank account pretty quick. That'll drain a bank account pretty quick. And I can remember I was writing a check for our mortgage, and I was about to write a check for maybe our electric bill or something like that. And I looked at our account and I said, I remember praying to the Lord. I was like, Lord, we've got enough for this month. Like, we'll be able to cover this month, but next month, I don't know. We don't have the money in the account. My contracts with the companies are running up, so I don't have any new contracts coming in, and we don't have any renters that will cover this for next month. And this is what I felt like the Lord say to me. I felt the Lord say, speak. I'm like, speak? What in the world are you talking about, speak? What does that mean? I'm like, speak, what do you need? And so, I had no idea what to say. I was just like, I speak life into our bank accounts. I speak life into our building here. I pray that you would attract people to our building. I pray that you would draw the right tenants here who need what we can offer, who we can serve well. And I just started speaking the things that we need. And after that, I was like, well, what do I do now? And I firmly feel like the Lord said, well, believe. And I was like, I got that, right? I got that. But I need to go do something. I need to go make something happen. What do I need to go do? And he said, just believe. He said, you spoke it and I believe it. And you watch what I do 1 week from now. And y'all, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not lying. Many of you listening, you've heard me tell the story. God just showed up. It was amazing. In a 7-day period of time, I had a guy reach out to me and said, hey, I want to buy 10 of your books. Oh, and by the way, I want to give $500 to your ministry. We don't even have a ministry, right? Like a set up ministry. We're always doing ministry, but we don't have a entity set up. He said, I want to give $500 to your ministry. Had another guy give me $120. Had another guy give me $210. Another one, $1,000. I had another, and then a company came, or it's actually a ministry. They came and they said, hey, they ended up renting 2,000 square feet from us. And then, what else happened? Something else happened. Oh, I got a call from a church to be the interim youth pastor at this church, all within a 7-day period of time, y'all. And then the cherry on the top, I go to Chick-fil-A and I'm ordering my food. And as I'm ordering, I'm about to check out. They've got me rung up right there. The manager walks over and types in bloop, bloop, bloop. He said, don't worry about it. It's on the house. Look at that. Ain't God good? Come on. Come on, y'all. How wild is that? Free Chick-fil-A, that's just cherry on the top. Y'all, that happened, I'm not joking, in a 7-day window of time. And God is just good. And so I started doing some study on who else lived this kind of life of just totally dependent upon God with their finances. And I came across George Mueller. I came across Reese Howes. And I came across men who just like did not make known their needs, but they just went straight to the Lord. Lord, this is what I need. And the need was always met. And in business, our history has been in the medical field. We own a couple of physical therapy clinics, some gyms, those kind of things, and built a pretty successful with that, sold those, transitioned out. And whenever I got into the current business that I'm in of speaking, coaching, training, mentoring, those kind of things, I tried to use the same marketing tools and tactics that I've learned, the things that worked. And I felt the Lord finally, when all of that was not working, He's like, when are you just going to let me do this? I am your marketing plan. I will put you into the rooms. I will stir the hearts, and I will put you into the rooms, and I'll give you what to say. But there's something about this part of us wanting to make things happen. And so I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then I would come across a $14,000 marketing plan that sounds great. I was like, oh, that's going to work. There's no way that's not going to work. That is going to work. I'm going to do that. $14,000, y'all. I spent $14,000 on this marketing plan that didn't work. And the Lord said, I told you I'm your marketing plan. Say, yeah, I got that. Okay, I trust you. I trust you. Several months go by, I come across another $7,500 marketing plan. That's like, oh, I know that's going to work. I know that's going to work. That is going to be so good. Pay $7,500. Well, what they did was you paid half up front, and once they got you 3 clients, then you paid the other half. Well, I spent like 4 months with them. I didn't get anybody. Nothing worked. And so I wasted about $3,500. And the Lord said, I'm your marketing plan. When you going to trust me for this? And so there has been this shift for me in finances. Yes, being wise, not allowing money just to flow out and being a wise steward, but being fully dependent upon the Lord to provide. Man, He is our provider. And I can just look back over our life, and He has shown up time after time after time. Even the times that we didn't pray and ask, He never let us down. I can just tell story after story of how the Lord showed up. David wrote in Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You know, when I was in a religious mindset, I used to read that as, oh, I don't need to want anything. I don't need to want anything. But when you look at it, they will not be in want. The Lord is a provider. He is not only a protector, He is our Lord, He is our Savior, but y'all, He is our provider. You know what I'm saying? Like if I allow Him to father me, He will provide. And so the shift that I have made is really just being dependent upon the Lord in that. And so here's the last one, is know your identity. I do not believe that you can fully serve other people, that you can fully walk out who you're called to be until you understand your identity and identity in Christ. Not who the world says you are, not what other people say that you are, not what you know, most people get their identity from what they do. I love sports, and sometimes these athletes, they've played baseball their entire lives, and then they retire and they have no idea what to do because their identity was in what they do. And so our identity is not in what we do, but in who Jesus Christ says that we are. He is the one that knit us together in our mother's wombs. He's the one, right, that has called us and formed us and fashioned us. It says we are His workmanship, which means masterpiece. And when I think about something that's a masterpiece, I think about intricate detail, focused detail. So He knows you. He knows how He created you. And so many people, they fall into this trap, and it's a trap that I've fallen into, and that's comparing ourselves to other people. But I truly believe God isn't going, when I get to heaven, God ain't going to ask me why I wasn't more like Mother Teresa. He's going to say, why weren't you more like you? Why weren't you more like the Cory I designed and created you to be? You know, when we want to be someone else, when all we try to be is just exactly like someone else, all we can ever hope to be is a knockoff of the original. We like the Equate brand, right? You the Equate brand of the original. And I truly believe that if you understood who God called you to be, you wouldn't want to be anybody else. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to enter in with me right here. We're going to go into an encounter, if you will. And if you'll do this, I believe this will be a very, very powerful thing. I've done this in churches. We've done this in businesses. We've done this in high schools, junior highs, colleges, and it's so profound. And so I just want to challenge you to enter in with me. And if you got a sheet of paper and a pen, or if you got your phone, you can go to your notes section. I want to challenge you to write down all those lies that you believe about yourself. Like when you go to do something and you got that talking monkey that likes to talk to you of like, who do you think you are? Who you think you are, right? You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You'll never measure up. Remember that time you failed? Yeah, you're a failure. You know when you made that big mistake and everybody laughed? You're just a mistake, right? All those lies that the enemy speaks into your ear. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You're too short. You're too tall. You're too ugly. You're too pretty. People only like you because of your looks. What are those lies that you believe? You're going to be just like your mama. You're going to be just like your daddy. You'll never measure up. You're no good, right? Well, I don't know what your lies are, but I really want to challenge you to write those down. Take a moment and write down the lies that speak to you. Yours are going to be different from another listener, and theirs is going to be different from mine. But what are those lies? And I want you to write them down. And after you write them down, I want you to look at them. And then once you look at them, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to picture yourself sitting at a table. And it's just you Maybe you're at your kitchen table, and you're sitting at the kitchen table. It's just you. You're all alone, and then you hear the door begin to creak open, and you hear footsteps, and you hear somebody coming in, and that person, they come in and they sit down right next to you. And you look to see who it was or who it is, and you notice it's Jesus. And Jesus is sitting right beside you. And he takes his chair and he scoots it as close as he possibly can right up to you. And it is like skin on skin. He is so close to you. And after you picture Jesus beside you, I want you in your mind's eye to hand him your sheet of paper with all the lies on it. And just notice what he does. What does he do with it? What does he do with yours? It's so amazing whenever I do this in business, I'll often ask, hey, what did he do? And it's crazy. He never looks at it. And if he does, he just laughs and tears it up. I've heard people say he shreds it up. He burns it up. He takes, somebody say he took it and threw it and shot it, right? Somebody's like, he just throws it over his shoulder because he's not going to engage with that because that's not who you are. That's not who he created you to be, so he doesn't want any part of it. He's not going to look at it. He's not going to entertain those thoughts because they're lies. He's the Prince of Peace. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the creator of all things, the one who all things, he says that everything was created for him, by him, and through him. He is the one who is, who was, and is to come. He knows you from beginning to end. He's not going to look at those lies. And so I want you to go back and close your eyes and picture Jesus right beside you and say, Jesus, who do you say that I am? Now that's the most important thing. Who Jesus Christ says that you are. Walking out that identity, boldly walking out that identity, will change the course of your own history, potentially the course of history of those around you. God wants to use you and he wants to do mighty things. It's no accident that you and I are here in 2025 in this generation, that we get to be a part of this generation. Come on, that's exciting. And so, hey, I hope today has added value to you. These are just some thoughts that I put together last night as I was getting together with this team earlier today, these young guys, and just wanted to add value to them on success factors. And, the world's got some success factors, but the kingdom is an upside down kingdom. It's different from the ways of this world. And so understand your identity and who Jesus Christ is and who he's called you to be. Paul in Ephesians, he writes this prayer that I pray that the eyes of your heart would be open to the knowledge of him. May your eyes be open to the knowledge of him. So, hey, I hope today has added value to you. I hope you got at least uno thingo that you can take and apply to add value to yourself so you can add value to those around you. Hey, if the Lord is stirring your heart and you just want to reach out to somebody and talk through some of these things, or maybe you have questions, man, I would love to connect with you. My email is always in the show notes and the descriptions there. You can always reach out, but make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with any of the latest episodes of the Cory Lee Show. Hope you guys have a great day and God bless.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope I have added value to you. And if you have found value in this episode, let me know. Drop a comment and make sure you share with a friend or family member. See you next episode.